Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shilakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishram. Hare Krishna. Anyone remembers what we discussed last class? Anyone would like to? We will do a review.
Prabhuji, you have told about our bank account, that is pious account and impious account.
Okay, so we were discussing about pious bank account and the impious bank account. This is first thing we discussed last.
How karma contribute towards credit or debit of both the individual accounts, and how the antik karma, that is final balance before the start of life, is transferred to the before the start of life as prarabdha and aftarabdha.
Yeah.
Which is a mixture of Chetan and impious.
Yeah, so that's what we discussed. The first thing we were discussing about this. Anyone remembers this? That practical application of the soul is karma yoga. Anyone remembers this? How we were discussing that the soul or the knowledge of soul is creates the conclusion that karma yoga, karma has, we need to know about karma. Atma ka gyan, knowledge of soul, applies in a practical way in the form of knowledge of karma. Anyone? We discussed about how if the soul exists, then next life exists. You remember? Now everyone is able to remember, if soul exists, then next life exists. And if next life exists, then what kind of situation in next life? And who decides those situations? You remember? You remember this? Yes? Anyone can remember this? We were discussing if the soul exists, then we are going to live. This life is not just all in all. We are going to live next life. And if I am going to live next life, what kind of body I will get? Right now, I have got this body. I am a software engineer. Can anyone who is a software engineer, can anyone who is a very good, let's say, prime minister, can the prime minister or a software engineer or whatever, can he claim that next life he will be again prime minister or again software engineer? We don't know.
No, it depends upon the circuit that he has. And Durga Devi will decide, like.
Very good. So very good. So that means if we understand that the soul exists, we have to understand that I am going to either suffer or enjoy based on what actions I am doing. Yes? So that means karma yoga is practical application of knowledge of soul. If we are not soul, then why we should worry about our karma? Is everyone clear about this point? If we are not soul, then why we are going to be worried about our karma? If we are just this body, then everything gets over as this body dies. But point is, everything does not get over when the body dies, and everything does not start when the body begins. Body is just a temporary phase of our eternal existence. Like people complain, oh, why I am born poor, why I am born poor, why I am born poor. Why someone is born poor and why someone is born rich? Why someone is born intelligent, why someone is born not intelligent? Yes, we see these disparities. Yes, we see these disparities that कोई धनी होता है, कोई गरीब होता है, कोई इंटेलिजेंट होता है, कोई इंटेलिजेंट नहीं होता है. क्यों? Why? Because of our actions in previous life. Yes. So that's what we were discussing in previous class. And then we saw that karma in experience. And then we saw that where this data, what we are doing, is getting stored. It is stored in our subtle body, in our mind, intelligence, and ego. You remember this? That our data, our karma or karmic actions are stored in our subtle body. And then there are two types of data storage. As someone was telling, as I asked, there is impious data storage and pious data storage. Both stores our pious actions and impious actions. Yes. And then we saw something about mathematics of the karmic actions. We saw how sanchit karma is equal to prarabdha and aprarabdha. Prarabdha is what we experience in this life, and aprarabdha is what we are going to experience in future lives. And aprarabdha creates inclinations, and we are going to discuss more about inclinations today. And the last point which we saw, a very important point, anyone remembers this? Bad and good karma do not cancel each other. So we should not say that I will do lot of terrorist activity and then I will get some money and do some lot of charity activity and my terrorist activities are all nullified. This does not happen. You are going to get punished because of your terrorist activity, because of what murders you committed, because of what torture you did to others, and you are going to get rewarded also for the charity you did to others. Both do not cancel each other. So we have to be very, very careful. This is the greatest misconception that Indians have about karma. And that's why we spend a lot of time discussing on how bad and good karma do not cancel each other. So now the next question today we are going to discuss is how these are getting stored. Like we saw that the data is stored in the subtle body, but how mind and intelligence stores the data. So today we will discuss about how the mind and intelligence are registering the data, right? And how it functions. We are going to basically deal for the next two sessions, today's session and next session on 6th and 7th and today's session 5 on mind and intelligence. So for the next 3 sessions, we'll discuss only on mind and intelligence. So we see that our actions, whatever actions, are controlled by thoughts. Like for example, I am speaking to all of you, but on the background, my thought is going on what to speak, correct? So based on the thought, I am acting. Like someone who wants to study something or solve some mathematics problem. Based on that, some thought is going on and then he or she is solving the mathematics problem. So whatever actions we do externally, they are actually already created, contemplated as a plan or thought somewhere. So where the thought, as an analogy we can see, imagine a robot's movement. Now robot is moving his hand like this, moving his hand like this, here and there and all, but ultimately what makes the robot move the hands is the software. There is a software programmed, and as you type and give certain commands, the software makes the hardware move. So just like in machines, we see that it's the software which moves the hardware. The human machine is also a complex machine which also has the software, which is of three categories: the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. So the human software which drives all our actions is of three categories: the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. Right? What is this mind? Mind is like a hard disk. It's not like a what do you say? It's not a physical hard disk. We will see that later on. It's like a subtle hard disk. It stores. Okay, what it stores we are going to discuss later on. Intelligence is the processor, and ego is the identity that I am a robot. So mind stores. It's like the hard disk. I hope everyone knows about the hard disk. It stores, right? You have seen hard disk? It stores. Yes, Bhisma, you have a hard disk? Okay, okay, no problem. So we have a hard disk, it stores, and intelligence is processes it, and ego is the identity that I am a robot. So what mind stores? Mind stores the habits, unfulfilled desires, previous experiences. Like if you have gone to a shop and you have purchased a very beautiful bag, right? So then immediately this is reinforced in the mind that this shop gives a good collection of items like bags and sleepers and all. So keep on recommending to others, "Arey, that shop is very good. It has a very good collection." And always in the mind, if any thought comes to purchase a product, which shop name will come? That shop near the airport. I had gone. Wonderful collection. So where this is stored? This is stored in the mind. So now intelligence is the decision maker. So the intelligence makes the decision. Yeah, you liked the bag which you purchased from that store, but you know that bag only went for 2 months. After that, the bag was not looking that good. That means it looks good. Those products in that shop looks good. अच्छा दिखता है, अच्छा टिकता नहीं है. This is intelligence. समझ में आ रहा है? You are able to understand from this example the difference between mind and intelligence, how mind works, how intelligence works. जो दिखता अच्छा है, mind gets attracted. But intelligence वो है जो टिकता अच्छा है. Immediately the intelligence analyzes इसका cost value कितना था? 1000 रुपए. And कितना दिन चला? 3 महीना. मतलब per month 300 rupees I spent for a bag. So this analysis is called intelligence. So intelligence makes this analysis. Mind gets attracted to different experiences. Intelligence analyzes these experiences. To make you more aware of what I am speaking, we have an analogy called ATM machine. So study this analogy. As you go to an ATM machine with an ATM card and you insert the ATM card, immediately the ATM card will ask, "Welcome, Sri Nitai Das." I do not have an ATM card, I do not have a bank account, but still, let's say as an example, "Welcome, Sri Nitai Das. Please enter your PIN." That means the ATM machine is able to recognize my ATM debit card, correct? Now, if it has to recognize my debit card, first thing means it has a system to store data. That is called the mind. If it doesn't have a system to store data, how it will recognize? Yes? So, the very fact that it is recognizing that I have inserted the pin and not Kushal Bihari Das or not Subhayan has inserted the card, is that it has stored the data of my card somewhere. And that is what is mind. Mind is basically the data storage device. It stores data. You're able to understand? It stores data. And the next one is the intelligence. What happened? Get stuck. Just 1 minute, it got stuck. The slides. Okay, yeah. And the next one is intelligence. Now, once you entered the right pin, it starts processing the data. If you enter the right pin, it will say, welcome Sri Nitai Das. But if you do not enter the right pin, it will say, sorry, wrong pin entered. Correct? So that means it has some intelligence. It has a processing unit. And that is our intelligence also. It processes the data given by mind or stored in mind. And what is ego? Ego is basically, imagine you take your clothes to the ATM machine and say, please wash my clothes. Will the ATM machine wash your clothes? The ATM machine will say, Arey, I am an ATM machine, I am not a washing machine. So that identity that it is an ATM machine is the ego. So in this way, every machine, we see that every machine on a software level operates having mind, intelligence and ego. Don't think that only human beings are operating. We have replicated machines, and in those machines also we have a mind, intelligence, ego, just like we have as a human machine the mind, intelligence and ego. So what machines we are creating, the laptops and all, is actually replicating our human machine in a small way. Similarly, the mind has the storehouse of all our emotions and experiences. It stores our emotions. ये अच्छा लगा, ये अच्छा नहीं लगा, उधर गए थे, बहुत अच्छा लगा. Anyone would like to give some example? We have some good experiences which are stored in your mind. Anyone? Good experience. Just close your eyes and just think for a while and think the good experiences in your life. Yeah?
When my child was born.
Yeah, when your child was born, oh my goodness, such a wonderful, cute child is born. So these experiences are registered in the mind. Yes? And when we get promotion, or our engagement, and our marriage, or we got our first job, and in the first job we got the first salary, and with the first salary we purchased a sari for my mother. Yeah? And then my mother was smiling. Oh wow. So these are the memories. Where it is stored? It's the mind. It stores the emotions, the experiences. And the intelligence processes data based on these previously stored experiences. And ego is the identity. Oh, I am a boy, I am a girl, I am a this, I am that, I am intelligent, and I am a man, I am an elephant. These are all identities which come from ego. So we'll be basically focusing on mind and intelligence. Now the question is, how the karmic cycle is connected with mind and intelligence. Now mind and intelligence is a software. It's also a subtle machine only. Now how the karmic cycle gets involved, now we will see. So please be attentive now. So we will now see how karma gets into our mind and intelligence system. Okay. So we will see the cycle. What is karmic cycle? So karma, we do an action. So what is an action? Let us say we purchased a product. Okay. So when we purchased a product, so that is called karma or action. Then that karma will create, either we'll like that product or dislike it after using it. Like right now I'm using this Apple Pencil and then iPad, so I'm liking it, right? Either I will like it or dislike it. These are the two things based on the usage of the product, the how the product is working and everything. So either I will like it or dislike it. Now, based on whether you like it or dislike it, these two emotions gets registered in your mind as a data. Product number one, let's say product Apple Pencil. You use it, purchase and use it. अच्छा काम करता है. Mind gets registered. Apple Pencil अच्छा काम करता है. You're able to understand? And product Apple Pencil. अरे इतना परेशान कर देता है, बीच बीच में स्टक हो जाता है. तो माइंड गेट्स रजिस्टर्ड. पैसा खाली ज्यादा है, काम अच्छा नहीं करता है. You're able to understand? So as you purchase a product and you use it, now purchasing product is just one example of an action. There are so many actions we do. It's just an example I have taken, that we either like it or dislike it, but that emotion of liking and disliking gets stored, and that storage is called samskara. Have you heard the word samskara? We say na in Sanskrit, samskar, samskar. उसके माता पिता ने उसको सही संस्कार नहीं दिया, ऐसे बोलते हैं ना इन हिंदी, इन बॉलीवुड मूवीज और ऑल, सही संस्कार नहीं दिया. Now what is this samskar? We hear a lot. Samskar is basically the registers, the data that is stored in the mind. Whatever data is stored in the mind, that impression on the mind is called samskar. Very simple understanding of samskar is you get a fresh hard disk, and whatever you store, what data you store in that fresh hard disk is called the samskar. So similarly, mind is a fresh hard disk. You store data, it is called samskar. So when we buy a product, we like it or dislike it based on whether we like it or dislike it. It creates from action, it creates impressions. It creates impressions, right? And then what happens? Samskars is what gets registered in our mind. Then what happens? Then those impressions creates our vasanas or inclinations. It creates inclinations. You have heard the word vasana also. Vasana आपने सुना होगा. In Sanskrit, the vasana word is very What is vasana? I'll give a simple example about vasana. How many of you had previously used fountain pen? Okay, fountain pen is right now obsolete, so not fountain pen. Ujala Supreme. Ujala Supreme, blue, liquid blue, Robin blue, Ujala blue, yes. So you take Ujala blue and you put in a bucket of water, and if you use the same bucket again and again and again for using Ujala, you will see the bucket also slowly will transform into blue. उसका नीचे का जो सर्कल होता है, एंगल होता है, सब ब्लू होने लग जाएंगे. If it is a white color or a light colored bucket, so it will transform into blue. So these transformation into blue is called impressions or samskara. समझ में आ रहा है? Because आप blue use कर रहे हैं बार बार उस bucket से ही you are using it for giving your clothes the blue color. So ultimately after some time the bucket only becomes blue. That is called samskara. And what is vasana? After some time you will see, you will put white water, clear water into the bucket. Okay, what it is showing? Cancel it. And after some time you will see that you will put clear water into the bucket, and the bucket will become make the water blue. That is called vasana. You are able to understand difference between impression, samskar and vasana. Let us say you have, again I'll explain the example, you have liquid blue and you have a light colored bucket. And you are using the liquid blue again and again every day to color your white cloths blue. After some time, you will see that the bucket is getting a layer of blue color. That is called samskar. That layer is created. And when you use that bucket, after that layer is created, you put good water in that, the water also becomes blue. That is called vasana. Right? So, how do we understand? So, vasana, let us say if you have purchased that product and you have liked that product, you will get an inclination, अरे उस दुकान में जाते हैं, उस दुकान में जाते हैं. So that means your intelligence is now getting the color of your mind or what is stored in the mind. So what vasanas they do, they actually force your intelligence to act in a particular way. Just like the clear water was put in the bucket and the clear water became blue water because of the vasanas. So exactly in the same way, once you have used a product, you will have to use it again and again. So you will buy it second time and you have entered the cycle. Hare Krishna. And this is what the advertisement industry uses. Exactly this cycle. I'll to give an example as we go ahead later on. I have put that example in the slide. Like my father used to say that how tea, chai, tea started in my hometown. My father used to say that his grandfather used to tell that practically there was no one taking tea. And everyone would take sattu or something in the morning. And then what happened, one fine day, the tea company came and started giving sachet. You know, sachets for free. And then they started showing demonstration also, how to take tea, how to use those sachets. And then people started using those free sachets of tea for some period of time. Then what happens? Then it gets registered in your mind, it gets registered in your mind, and it gets registered in your mind. And then you go to a grocery shop, Arey, that tea packet do to bahut acha hai. That means that intelligence has now completely got colored by our mind. So what these vasanas they do, these vasanas actually color your thought process only. They color your decisions. I'll give another negative example so that it becomes more clear. The negative example is, let us say a person starts drinking alcohol. So then he does one action, drinking alcohol. It creates a samskara in his mind that, oh, अच्छा लगता है. And then thoda sa अच्छा लगता है. And then it creates a vasana. And then whenever he is going through the road, which has so many shops, it has a shopping mall, it has a medicine shop, it has also a liquor shop. Which shop he is supposed to see first? He will see the liquor shop. And his intelligence will force him to go to the liquor shop. Why? Because that vasana is created. For someone who doesn't take alcohol, for him he will do vomit with the smell of the alcohol. It's really, but someone who has created impressions in his mind about alcohol, it's the most fragrant item in the entire creation. So in this way, our vasanas color our intelligence, color our thought process. And practically after some time, you use that bucket, that blue color bucket, after some time you put any water, the water will completely become blue. That means the bucket cannot be used now. You put anything in the bucket, it will become blue only. I am giving this example because in our ashram, we dye our saffron cloths and our bucket become orange and completely orange. And what happens is, there are some white people, those who wear white cloths, they cannot use those buckets. As soon as they put their white cloth, it will become orange. So this is called vasana. And then they say, Arey Prabhuji, there has to be separate buckets for the saffron devotees who are wearing saffron, and there has to be separate buckets for the white devotees. And these white devotees, they suffer because their cloths don't remain white. It gives a tinge of orange color to their cloths because they are using the same buckets what we are using for dyeing our cloths. So this is called vasana. So action. This is number one. Actions create impressions in the mind. Impressions creates inclinations, and inclinations force our intelligence. So which is more dangerous? Samskar or vasana? Can anyone say? Vasana. Very good. Vasanas. Because vasanas will force your intelligence. Samskar only gets registered in the mind. But vasanas, when it gets transformed into vasana form, then it forces your intelligence to act in a particular way. Like drug addiction, it's a vasana. Alcohol addiction is a vasana. Addiction to good things is also a vasana. It's a good vasana, right? Like some people get addicted to service, some people get addicted to charity, some people get addicted to coming to temple. It's a vasana. It's also a vasana. So this is the karmic cycle. Now what happens when you have entered the cycle, you have purchased the second time, what it creates is prarabdha and aprarabdha, the reactions. So this is the entire cycle. First action, creating impressions or samskaras. Samskaras creates the vasanas. Vasanas force your intelligence to purchase the product second time. And once you have purchased the product second time, you have entered the cycle, and the cycle creates your prarabdha and aprarabdha. So this is the karmic cycle. Karma, samskar, vasana. Karma, samskar, vasana. This is how we are put in the karmic cycle. Now, how to get rid of the karmic cycle is what we will see. So, how to break this karmic cycle? So, first of all, we should know that we cannot stop actions. We have to do actions. Can anyone stop action? Can anyone stop eating? Can anyone stop sleeping? Can anyone stop speaking? We cannot stop actions. Now we know from the previous slide that it's the action which begins how the cycle begins through action only, correct? So we can think that okay, cycle अगर action से चालू होता है, action ही बंद कर दो, खत्म ना cycle. You close action only, finish, no impressions and no inclinations. Bas, you are a free bird. But problem is, so long we are in this world, we cannot stop action. We just cannot stop acting. We have to act. Even I am a sannyasi, I am also acting. Have I stopped eating food? Have I stopped drinking? Have I stopped taking bath? Have I stopped my services? I am also acting. No one can stop acting. Everyone is forced to act. So, breaking the karmic cycle by stopping all action is impossible. So then if that is impossible, you cannot stop action, you have to do action, then what we can do? we can start doing the right actions. If we do the right actions, then those right actions will create the right impressions. Oh, what happened? So the right actions will create the right impressions. And how to give the right impressions? By giving the right experience to the mind. It's not visible. We change it. We sit. By giving the right experience to the mind. So the right actions will lead to the right impressions. And how to create the right impressions? We can give right experience to the mind. We will see how to do that. So already there are impressions in the mind. We put right impressions in the mind. We'll give some examples to understand it. And then there are vasanas, which are inclinations. So we can change our inclinations by educating our intelligence in the right way, because vasanas affect our intelligence and samskaras affect our mind. So our mind is affected by the samskaras and our intelligence is affected by the vasanas. So we have to store right data into the mind and we have to store right data into our intelligence. This is the process. Now it's very easy to say, okay, store the right data. Now how to store the right data? So much of wrong data is there. So the example is given. Again you take the blue color example. Same liquid blue, robin blue example. Imagine you take a glass of water. You do this experiment today. You take a clean glass of water, that glass, transparent glass of water, and in that glass you put 4 drops of robin blue, and the entire white water, clear water will become blue. Now what you do, take that glass of water, take it under a tap in a basin and start the water from the tap and make the water enter the glass. You will see as the right water, clear water enters the glass, slowly the blue water will come out, overflow out of the glass. Blue water will overflow out of the glass and out of the glass, and the clear water will enter. Clear water will enter. After some 5 minutes, the entire glass will become clear. And this is exactly what spirituality helps you about. Spirituality does not remove your wrong impressions. Spirituality registers right impressions. And then, because that memory is there, you have 100 GB of hard disk. In 100 GB, you have filled 99 GB bad data and 1 GB good data. And what spirituality will do is that it will start replacing the bad data with the right good data. That is what spirituality does. Spirituality reinforces good data to our mind and intelligence. And as our mind and intelligence get reinforced, again it is storing the right data, good data, then all the bad data will automatically go away. That is what is called karma yoga. So karma cannot be stopped. It has to be there. So what we can do is that yoga, connect. Yoga matlab connect. Connect our actions in such a way that the right impressions and the right inclinations happen. And when there is right samskar and when there is right vasanas, then it creates the deletion process. So we are not deleting it, we are restoring right information on it. That's what spirituality does. It restores right information. Like, to give an example, recently I was giving an example of in the class of a boy who was, I wrote about this boy in my book Resonate with Divinity, and in one chapter, this boy used to study in our St. Xavier's College in Calcutta. There is a St. Xavier's College. He used to study BCom honors in St. Xavier's College in Calcutta. And somehow he got into drug addiction. And he got into drug addiction. And these drug players are very, very cunning. So they will give you drugs in just 10 rupees, 5 rupees, 15 rupees. And once you get addicted, once your mind registers their drugs, then they will increase the price. And then they will also disappear. Initially, and you will not find drugs in Amazon. So you cannot put online shopping for the drugs. You are completely dependent on that person. And that person is now charging 10,000 rupees. What you will do? So this boy got so affected. By the end of the third year or second year beginning, this boy was obsessed with drugs, like mad. He used to get cravings that he used to roam around in that near that street, like mad person, ready to kill anyone, ready to do anything for getting some money so that he can purchase drugs from that person. And he started stealing from his father, from his mother, from different persons. His father came to know that he has got addicted into drugs, and he started stealing and all. The father became very conscious of the chavi and everything. The father, mother were frustrated. This is a true story. In 2012, this is a story of 2012 and 11. So, and the father, mother were really frustrated, not knowing what to do. And he started, really, and when people come to know that you are stealing, they will be very careful. Once they become careful, you will not get money. So parents didn't give him money, and they were very, very careful. And he was practically moving around in the streets of Calcutta like a mad man. Who can give me money so that I can purchase drugs? So one fine day, this boy comes near Birla High School, which is near our ISKCON temple in Albert Road in Minto Park. He comes near Birla High and he sees a big line. ऐसे से क्या बड़ा line है? And he asks, अरे क्या है? क्या चल रहा है इधर? And people say that खिचड़ी, ISKCON खिचड़ी मिलेगा. Line में तुम भी खड़े हो जाओ. You also stand, you will also get khichdi. And this boy, because he is getting so much of craving, he has to do something. So he stands in the line, and after 10 minutes, the line moves near the temple and he gets a khichdi. Garam, hot khichdi. And he takes the khichdi, and all his craving go away for some time. I said, wow, अच्छा लगा, ये तो सस्ता में फ्री में मेरा craving हटा दिया. Because when you get cravings, you get mad. I don't know whether you have experience. Most of you will not have any experience of seeing such people. They get mad. And he started taking and all. He liked it. He asked for one more khichdi thrown. He started liking it. So every day he used to come in the evening to ISKCON and take khichdi. And while he was taking khichdi one day, he heard some dancing that is going on up on the first floor of temple. नृत्य चल रहा है, कीर्तन चल रहा है, क्या चल रहा है? And then he came up and he was continuing his drugs business. सब कुछ, खिचड़ी भी खा रहा था, drugs ले रहा था. Everything is going on, and he was getting some money somewhere, stealing somewhere, something he is doing. And he came to the first floor and some devotees gave him to chant Hare Krishna. He gave him Bhagavad Gita. And as he started chanting Hare Krishna, read Bhagavad Gita and started taking khichdi, the devotees gave him halwa. And halwa is much better than khichdi. When he started taking halwa, khichdi, and he started chanting, he said, for the first time, I experienced freedom in my life. And then he, in just 3 months or 4 months, he says that he left drugs and he was chanting, but then he was to get lot of cravings still. His cravings for drugs have gone away, but that vasanas are still not fully purified. So he started cigarettes to just stop drugs and continue kirtans and everything. And in just next 2 months, he stopped cigarettes and he stopped even tea and coffee. And in 8 months, he stopped every bit of intoxication. That is the power of spirituality. So you can understand what I am saying is spirituality does not delete your data. It reinforces so much of right data in your system that your system becomes completely clean. So that is how spirituality breaks your karmic cycle, by educating your intelligence with right data and by giving the right experience to your mind. So we will see in the next one session how exactly we are going to do, how spirituality does. But before that, today in the next 10 minutes, we will discuss what is this mind and intelligence, how it works. Because if we want to register good things in the mind and intelligence, we need to little bit discuss about what is this mind and intelligence. कैसे काम करता है ये, उसका functionality कैसा है. So the first misconception people have is brain is the mind. Brain is not the mind. Scientists have also proved, we will see some scientific data and clips also, that brain is not the mind. Brain is what supports the mind and intelligence. It is the hardware. Brain has neural networks. For those who know about, there are neural networks in the brain. It has about 1.1 trillion brain cells, or which are called neurons. And they act in a particular way as we eat, as we sleep, as we laugh, as we fall in love. A particular way these neural networks are fired. So brain is a system of neural network. But how the neural network is fired is governed by mind and intelligence. So brain is the hardware, mind and intelligence is the software which register things in the brain. Brain is not mind. This is the first misconception people have, that brain is mind, but brain is not mind. Brain is just the external thing which mind and intelligence uses. Now, what is brain, how it functions, how the mind functions in the brain. So as I said, the brain has these neural networks like this. Basically, these are all called synapses. If you know a little bit of biology, these are called synapses. These are all joints, and these are all called neural networks. So what happens is, when we eat a particular item, a particular neural network is activated. When we sleep in a particular time, a particular neural network is activated in the brain. But who activates it is the mind, and the intelligence is that which activates the brain. So whatever is stored in the mind actually stores on a physical level through the brain. Brain is just a physical structure that supports the software. Like for example, how do I say? You have a software called the app, Uber app, or let's Ola. So that app is stored in your Android phone or iPhone. So that app is stored somewhere in the hard disk or the RAM or ROM of the mobile. But that software is different. That software is stored in that. So exactly, the mind is stored. Mind is like an operating system, you can say, which is stored in the hard disk called brain, and is stored. And based on the operating system, Like someone has Windows operating system, someone has iOS operating system. So all of us have the same brain but different operating system. Everyone is able to understand this? We all have the same brain. If you cut upon brain of all of us who are attending the classes, it will look almost the same. But what is stored in that brain, that operating system, is what makes the difference. So the mind and intelligence is like a software registered on the brain, and scientists have also found out this, which we will see. And when these neurons, they are acting in a particular way, that is called impressions. Impressions means, let's say you ate one ice cream and you liked the ice cream. Oh, ice cream is nice. This wearing is for ice cream. So that wearing gets registered in the brain, and there is a clip for it. That clip, you have to go to share screen, and in the share screen, I don't know, let's wait. You're able to hear the video? Just wait, do nothing. No, the sound is not coming. Okay, the sound is not coming. I don't know how to. Okay, the sound is not coming because it's connected like that. Okay, so I will.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
हाँ, Hare Krishna.
टॉप में राइट हैंड साइड में देखिए वो शेयर साउंड का भी ऑप्शन है.
नहीं. This we are actually using Vimix software, so that is how it is. We are not directly sharing it, so I don't know how to show the sound. Basically, this video says that it is called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity. You see the, okay, I will stop and show you. You see how it is showing that neurons are getting fired, correct? You see how this is the neural structure of the brain, and as you think in a particular way, one particular neuron is fired, and as you think in another particular way, another neuron is fired. So in this way, constantly different neurons are getting fired every second, many times in many parts of the brain. And based on what is getting fired, who is firing, is based on what the software, the mind, is stored or registered on the brain. And as you make one type of actions, this will registered, and it, let's just like the video says, that if you start eating, if you start smoking, if you start meditation, if you start doing whatever you are doing, a particular way the brain is activated. So and that way becomes more broadened and broadened. You're able to see this is, there is a yellow line, there is a white line. Everyone is able to see this here? Huh? Everyone is able to see the yellow line and the white line? Yeah. So whatever I was telling, the scientists are telling the same thing in this video. The neurologist and neurophysicists, whatever the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam says, the Vedas say, they have now found out, and they have created this video in a sophisticated way. What they are telling, if you do a right action, so the right action is the white line, and yellow is your wrong action. Yellow line is your wrong action. So they are telling what? Now let us say you have been doing yellow action. You are taking drugs, So the yellow line was built nicely. Now what you do? You start doing the right activity. When you do the right activity, that white line will get activated and it will get broadened, and slowly the yellow line will become more patla. So you see they are showing that how the white line is becoming more and yellow line is, so it will become, and then the white line will remain and then the yellow line will disappear. You are able to understand? So whatever whatever you are doing, accordingly the lines will get formed, and some lines will disappear and some new lines will appear on the neural network of your brain. And this is what spirituality does. Spirituality creates the right network and automatically deletes the right. Okay, so we'll see ahead. Yeah. So this is the one thing which you want to leave. So when you want to leave, so you start doing in a different way. So you are frustrated, always frustrated, always frustrated. So you start meditating. And when you start meditating, instead of these two network getting connected, these two get connected. You're able to see? You're able to see the video how it shows? Okay, you see here. You see here. You see this. So now previously, whenever any action will be there, you will be frustrated. So this is activated. This is activated. This network of the brain. Any action will happen, you will get irritated. You will get frustrated. Your wife says something, you will get irritated. So start meditating. And you start meditating. So this changes to your neural network changes and starts acting in this way. And automatically that is happening, and the scientists have found out through EEG and signals and all those things they have recorded whatever the Bhagavad Gita is telling. So so then it gets activated in a different way, and then after some time when it gets activated in different way, the entire wiring changes. Previously the wiring was like this, and then the wiring only changes, and when the wiring changes, then you never get irritated in life, right? So this wiring, this getting irritated wiring in the brain goes away completely. So this is what spirituality does in little sophisticated way, what scientists are showing through this video, which is already being spoken in Bhagavad Gita, is it changes the wiring. First, the wiring was there. If you see, the wiring is there, but wiring is upar, and you are doing action like this. So whenever you are feeling irritated, you do little meditation, you chant Hare Krishna, you chant Hare Krishna, you chant Hare Krishna whenever you are getting irritated. So slowly, what happened? Slowly, the wiring will only change and the wiring will alter first, and it will happen like this. Is everyone clear about what I am saying? Yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is called neuroplasticity. I will share this video. I am telling I will share a lot of videos, but I am forgetting. Maybe Kushal Bihari Prabhu, you have to remind me to share these videos, or maybe Subhayan, so that I can share this video. And last class also I said something I'll share, but I don't remember now what I told to share. Okay. So this is about this. So mind programs your brain. So the neurons in the brain fire in a particular way depending on how the mind programs the brain. And when you do a particular activity in a particular way, that is called habit. And that's how we see habits die hard. Once a particular wiring is done as it's shown, it's very difficult to change that wiring. Only through spirituality we can change the wiring. I was giving the example of how tea started in Puri, right? So then that's why to break the karmic cycle, we need to understand how the mind and intelligence, they are actually working, and how things are getting stored in the mind and intelligence. Because mind and intelligence are the storehouse of the samskaras and vasanas. They store the samskaras and vasanas. See, they store the samskaras and vasanas, right? So that's the mind and intelligence. They actually store the samskaras and vasanas. So intelligence makes the decision, and mind, it has desires, right? It accepts and rejects. So intelligence is the decision maker, as we had discussed, and mind, it accepts and rejects whatever the emotions are there and stored in the mind. And the senses are the inputs to the mind. The senses, the eyes, the ears, they're like the input to the minds. The mind takes input from the senses. The intelligence decides based on what is there in the mind. So then, this is an analogy given in our scriptures about how the mind and intelligence, they work. So the senses are like the horses. The mind is like the reins or the ropes which connect the horses. And the intelligence is the driver. And the soul is the passenger. So the intelligence, if it is strong, then it will hold the mind very strongly. And when the mind is strong, the senses also get in right direction. So the scriptures tell this example to help us understand that the strong driver is there. He can control the horses through the strong reins and control the mind and intelligence. So mind needs, so we have got wrong experience. We need to put the right experience through spiritual food, through spiritual music and dance, through spiritual tours. As more and more we do that, right information gets stored in our mind. Right samskaras get stored in our mind. So mind needs all these things. We will discuss elaborately next session how to take care of our mind and intelligence. But right now, an overview. And intelligence needs education. By reading scriptures, by understanding Bhagavad Gita, our vasanas get completely cleared. So the mind needs experience and the intelligence needs education, right? And when there are purified actions, when there is actions are not purified, it is just like a virus affecting the computer system. And when our actions are purified, and how to purify, this is the verse we will take now. Okay, we will repeat this verse. This is Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 66th verse. How to purify one's mind, intelligence and ego. Nasti buddhira yuktasya. Anyone? Nacha yuktasya bhavana. Nacha bhavayate santi. Asantasya kutah sukham. Okay, you see what he is telling. Nasti, na asti, agar हम नहीं करेंगे क्या? बुद्धि मतलब और इंटेलिजेंस अयुक्तस्य, अगर हम बुद्धि को भगवान में युक्त नहीं करेंगे. न च युक्तस्य भावना, अगर हमारी भावनाएं, हमारे मन को भगवान के साथ युक्त नहीं करेंगे, तो there is no शांति in our life. There will be no peace in our life. Bhagavad Gita clearly says, if you want peace in your life, you have to connect your mind and intelligence to Krishna. And next what it says, asantasya kutah sukham. And if you do not have peace, where there will be happiness? Kutah sukham. So the translation says, one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind. And without that, without having a right intelligence and peaceful mind, there is no possibility of peace in life. And how can there be any happiness without peace? If there is no peace only, then there is no question of happiness. So in this way, one can purify one's intelligence and mind by connecting with the mind with Krishna. And that is called Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. This is how Karma Yoga goes into Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. So what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is acting as per directions, right actions, doing the right actions. but the actions are done by the mind and intelligence internally. So then we need to connect our mind and intelligence. So connecting our mind and intelligence is Gyan Yoga and Dhyan Yoga, which we will see in the next class about how the mind and intelligence can be connected with Krishna on a very elaborate basis. Today we just saw the summary, right? And that will increase our spiritual immunity. So when we connect our mind and intelligence, what is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th and 5th chapter and the 6th chapter of how to purify one's mind and intelligence. And what is the effect? Just like we got immunity, then we will be less affected by the negativity. If we have immunity, we'll be less affected by the negativity. So similarly, when the mind and intelligence are immune, then it gets less affected by the negativity of the world. Right? So, and Krishna explains the effects of spiritually immune person. How to know who is spiritually immune? Krishna explains that a person who is spiritually immune or spiritually vaccinated, Krishna explains this verse in Bhagavad Gita. Someone else who has not recited. Brahmanya adhaya karmani.
Brahmanya adhare kalmani.
Sangam tyukta karoti yaha.
Sangham yukta karoti.
Lipyate nasapapena.
Lipyate nasapapena.
Padma patram ivambhasa.
Padma patram imambhasa.
So Krishna gives an example of Padma patram ivambhasa. A person who practices spirituality, his mind and intelligence becomes like a Padma patra, lotus leaf. What is special about lotus leaf? How many of you seen lotus leaf?
They float on water.
They float on water, okay, okay. Water floats, okay, okay. What else? What is special about lotus leaf? It's waxy and it does not stick mud. That is the speciality. If there is lotus leaf, then you put some muddy water, the muddy water will go away. The lotus leaf always remains clean. And that is why the lotus, another name is, Pankaja. Pankaja. Pankaja means, Panka is mud and Jata is Pankaja. So, Pankaja means one who is born from mud but doesn't get affected by mud. Panka is mud. So lotus is called Pankaj, that's why. So Krishna says, if one connects one's mind and intelligence to me, then he will become like a Padma Patra, lotus leaf. And he will never get affected by the negativities of the world. No matter, he may live in this world, but he will live above this world. His mind and intelligence will not get affected by the negativities of the world. So that's what he says, that how we can become spiritually immune. And how to program our mind and intelligence in the right way is we are going to see the next class. Okay? So now anyone has any question, you can ask. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, my question is related to the last class. In the last class you mentioned that pious and sinful activities, they cannot cancel each other. However, in many lectures of you also and other in lectures I have heard that एक बार हरे कृष्ण मंत्र बोलने से सारे पाप का नाश हो जाता है. तो how that is justified?
Yes, so he is asking, Subham is asking that we said that the pious and impious do not cancel. They do not cancel. You have to experience this and this separately. So then, how is that? By chanting Hare Krishna or spirituality, you get rid of impious things. Yes, spirituality is different. So what is mentioned in previous classes is that if you do pious action, You cannot cancel impious action, but spirituality is not pious action. That is what we will discuss in next class. There is karma, which is pious action. There is karma, which is impious action. And then there is akarma, which is spirituality. So spirituality is the third category of action. If you remember, we took one verse last class from 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 17th number slok. Krishna says there is 3 types of action. So spirituality falls in the third type of action called akarma. What is akarma? We are going to see next class. But spirituality is not a pious karma. Chanting Hare Krishna is not pious karma. It is not bikarma, it is not karma, it is akarma, which we will see next class. And that's how spirituality has the power to cancel both karma and bikarma. That is the definition of akarma. Right? So spirituality is not a pious karma. Coming to temple is not a pious karma. It is akarma. And because it is akarma, it has power to cancel the bikarma and all other bad actions. Is this clear? So, and we will go into see what is akarma next class. Basically, whole class is on akarma only. Okay, but what we discussed last class is karma and bikarma, they cannot cancel each other. But akarma can cancel karma, it can also cancel bikarma. Is this clear? So we will see next class what is akarma. Okay, next. Anyone else?
Comment section there is one question.
Okay, comment section there is one question. Please open. Yeah. How do you know if samskaras are wrong? Yeah, how do we know? It's a very nice question. How do we know the samskaras are wrong? When our inclinations are wrong. When our actions are wrong, our actions are forced to do us wrong. So first of all, we need to know what is right and what is wrong. So if you do not know what is right, what is wrong, how can we say that our samskaras are right or wrong? So what is right and what is wrong is that which we will know from next class. Next class we'll study first that is what is right, what is wrong, and then we will study about how to know whether our samskaras are becoming right or becoming wrong. Or first of all, we have to know what is right and wrong. Right? You go to a person who is taking alcohol, he will say alcohol is right. Right? So everyone has right and wrong according to his own perspective. The terrorist says he is right. If you talk with a terrorist who is attacking, they will say they're right. So everyone has a own perspective of right and wrong. So that is how we have to first define what is right and wrong, and that we will see, and then we can understand. Doing nothing materialistic and only chanting, worshipping is akarma, and this is the right way. Okay. So, but we cannot do that. We cannot just sit and chant always. And we need to do some practical action also. So then we have to dovetail our practical actions also into spirituality. So we can chant always, but the problem is it will not be possible for us to chant always. Right? That's what Arjuna was telling. That I will go to Himalayas and chant always. Then I'll do akarma. And Krishna is telling, no, you cannot do that right now. So right now you do akarma by fighting. Right? So we need to understand the akarma right properly. Right? We cannot just say that all the time if I chant then I am doing akarma. No. Our karma, whatever karma we have, let's say we are doing our karma as a mother, as a father, as a daughter, as a son. So even that karma also needs to be connected with spirituality. Definitely we have to do chanting of Hare Krishna. That is very, very important. But on top of that, so long we have this material body, we have to do some karma. We have to eat. So spiritualize your eating. You have to do job, spiritualize your job. You have to do business, spiritualize your business. You have to stay in a house, spiritualize your house. You have to go out somewhere for relaxation of your mind, spiritualize your tours. So these actions we can spiritualize. So that is also comes in category of akarma. Akarma is not just chanting, akarma is all these things also. But chanting is the most prominent way of akarma and is the most powerful way of akarma, right? But only chanting right now we cannot do. But as we go ahead and we progress after practicing 15, 20, 30, 40 years, we can only chant and do akarma. But there are the other activities also which we need to do. Okay?
One question.
Yeah.
Discussed about the neuro of our mind. It is there. So when we are meditating, then neuro of our mind will get connected in the correct way. So whether we can also understand in a way that if our positive thinking will also be in a certain way, or when we are practicing the positive thinking, whether that neuro is also going to align in a certain way. Is it possible?
Yeah. Very good question. So we said that neuro of mind, neuro of brain. The brain has neurons, mind fires the neurons in a particular way. That's the right understanding. So she's asking a very nice question. We said that by meditation, by chanting Hare Krishna, if you chant Hare Krishna, so then what happens? The neurons fire in a particular way, in the right way, right? Can through positive thinking, motivational thinking, or you just sit down and think, and can that also fire the neurons in the right way? Yes, sometimes, but it is not a foolproof technique. Why it is not foolproof technique? The problem is your vasanas. See, you are talking about samskaras. If the problem is only the samskaras and some wrong things are registered in your mind and you need to delete it, you can think positively and you can, but as you are telling, think positive, correct? You said what? Think positive. Thinking kahan hota hai? Mind mein nahi hota hai. Kahan pe hota hai? Intelligence. The problem is we have vasanas in our intelligence also. If it is only samskaras, then you can think positively and then reduce the samskaras or delete the samskaras. But problem is our vasanas are also wrong. Then our thinking is also colored by our vasanas. You cannot think positively because you will be forced to think according to the vasanas stored in your mind, in your intelligence. And that becomes a problem for positive thinking. Positive thinking will work when you can think positively. But problem is, if I have just samskaras in the mind and my intelligence is completely purified, then I can think positively, delete the samskaras of mind. Possible. But problem is, I have problems in two fronts. My mind is also contaminated with samskaras. My intelligence are also having vasanas. And because my intelligence are having vasanas, it is gone way ahead. I cannot think positively all the time. Little bit, sometimes you can think positively. Later on, again, you will be thinking in a negative direction. So what chanting does is not just clearing your samskaras in the mind, it clears our vasanas in the intelligence also. So thinking positive is possible when we have no vasanas and only samskaras. But we have vasanas also and samskaras also. That becomes a barrier for positive thinking. And that is how many people who do positive thinking and motivational, they speak, after some time it doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? because the samskaras are slowly, little bit getting destroyed, but the vasanas are so strong, so strong. So we have to understand our problem has gone from the samskar level to the vasanas level. It has gone way ahead. And because it has gone way ahead, we need to act on both the fronts, mind and intelligence. Positive thinking works only on the mental level. It does not purify the intelligence because it assumes, like you said, positive thinking. It assumes that the thinking is positive. But the problem is thinking is only negative. The thinking is only in vasanas level negative. So how will you, with an impure intelligence, how you will think positively? That's the problem. Okay. Yes. Haribol. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.